All right, now that we officially have a quorum, I would like to officially call our meeting to order.
Okay, let's have everybody on.
Perfect. And just as a good housekeeping, if you would like to make comment, you would just have to push the button to unmute and then mute back after you finish your comment. So I just want to turn things over to Secretary Zaremba to do our roll call.
Xavier Bay.
Present.
Jose Hernandez.
Present.
Amos Danielson.
Here.
Jennifer Kipp. Present. Dan Lehman.
Present.
Samira Malone.
Present.
Tom Schreiber.
Present.
Whitney Long Jones. Not present. Councilwoman Jenny Spencer. Present. Rick Switolski. Not present. Laura Marks. Aye. Can you please unmute?
Yep.
Here.
Anna Zaremba, I'm here. Beck Swab. Here. Sarah Tilley. Not yet present. Janan Berard. Should be joining shortly via WebEx. And I think I missed Jennifer Chandler. Present. So we have a quorum.
We have a full quorum. Thank you so much. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming and attending today's meeting. We have a very full agenda ahead. Just to kind of go over the function of Urban Forestry Commission, we serve as a guiding force committed to advising the mayor and city council on policies that strengthen our tree canopy and enhance the vibrancy of Cleveland's neighborhoods. Staying true to mission, we provide strategic insight to support best practices in urban forestry, working to grow, maintain, and protect Cleveland's urban tree canopy and urban forest. Our responsibilities are broad and impactful. And today we have a very exciting agenda, and we have a few new faces, which we are very happy to welcome into the fold, but we'll jump into that a little bit further into the commission meeting. And we actually have one of our commissioners joining us now. And just another piece of housekeeping, if you have not yet signed in, please do so. I need to follow my own lead and do so as well, so I'll do it in just a moment. And with that being said, I am going to turn things over to Secretary Zaremba to review the meeting minutes and go into meeting minutes approval.
All right. So I have printed copies of the meeting minutes. The top does say agenda, but they're the stapled copy from our last meeting minutes, from our last meeting in January. I would like to just give a moment for anyone to offer any corrections that they may like to include. We had a productive meeting speaking about some of the previous unfinished business, talking about the draft policy for trees and sidewalks reviewing rules and regulations, and discussing in depth the cadence of committee meetings outside of the regular public meetings for the Urban Forestry Commission. And then had a great committee update section as well, and updates from the Urban Forestry Division and on the Forest Service grant, as well as several public comments, which we've recorded as well. Any questions or discussion about the minutes? Okay.
Can we make a motion to approve the minutes?
I would like to make a motion to approve.
Can we get a second?
I second the motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll actually abstain. I think I was absent.
Right. Okay. So you were very
make notes.
You were absent.
I'm abstaining too.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Noted. The new members are
Noted new
abstaining.
members, thank you so much.
Rick Switolski is abstaining and Xavier Bay, as they were not at the last meeting. Okay.
Fantastic. I'm going to
Noted.
turn it over to Vice Chair Kipp to jump into unfinished business.
Okay. Did we want to cover these slides for the new members?
Ooh, we can go. I'm sorry, I jumped ahead a bit.
No, that's okay. I think it's worth just visiting this per ordinance. Why do we exist? Why does the Urban Forestry Commission exist, and what are we tasked with? So for the new cohort of commission members coming in, I just wanted to let you know what our duties are. So assist with adoption of urban forestry management plan, updating inventory, provide recommendations on policy plans, programs, legislation, review and comment on program or work related to the protection or enhancement of the forest, work with departments to implement recommendations to reduce tree loss and damage, monitor implementation of city plans and policies. This is the last of our duties. I know it's a lot. It's a big task. Assist in preparing educational programming to encourage proper maintenance of trees within the city. Solicit grants or contributions to the Tree Preservation Fund. Monitor penalties paid to the Tree Preservation Fund and make recommendations regarding disbursement of funds. Assist the Director of Parks and Recreation in preparing an annual report and any other duties requested by the Mayor or Council. All right. Moving on to the unfinished business. Okay, the tree and sidewalks policy update. So I crossed off the things intentionally because from our last meeting, those are the things that have been completed. So I completed the draft appendix for the tree assessment. An update to this is that we will review the appendix at the next policy committee meeting, which is currently scheduled for April 10th. And I believe it's also posted on our website. Great. Our chair, Tom Schreiber, chair of the policy committee. We're hoping to finalize the draft of the policy and appendix. Director Nichols, who is our Director of Parks and Recreation, reviewed the draft. So then we need Director DeRosa to also review the draft. And then we'll convene and review any and all changes or revisions based on that feedback. And then I suggested a different goal here. Originally, the goal was to adopt this policy before sidewalk construction season begins. The sidewalk construction season already began, I believe, Rick, correct me if I'm wrong, March 24th-ish?
It was in March sometime.
March. Okay.
Yeah, we're moving panels. Nothing's been poured yet.
Great. So the new goal would be maybe to establish, and this is just a suggestion again, I defer to our chair of the policy committee and the committee itself to determine if this makes sense for a goal, is to establish those SMART goals in the policy committee around this policy. So, make sure they're specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based with respect to this policy. Any questions, comments? I know again, oh yeah, Rick.
Thank you. The comments from Director DeRosa, does he know he was supposed to have them or would like to have them by April 10th?
Oh, no, he doesn't have to have them by April
Okay.
10th. Yeah, we're not. The goal is for us to reconvene after, Director Nichols looked at it. I did the appendix, so then the committee will reconvene.
All right.
It was supposed to happen sooner, but as I understand, we didn't have a quorum for our last policy committee meeting. So that's why it got a little postponed. But certainly Director is going to get a chance to see the revision.
All right, so he needs the revision is what you want him to look at. So I have a meeting with him tomorrow. I just want to be able to bring that to his attention.
And we'll circulate it, and you sit on the policy committee meeting,
Thank you.
policy committee. Any questions? Do we have deer in the headlights for some of the new commission members? Certainly, I would encourage you, if you're interested, to participate in that committee meeting, the policy committee meeting. But the intent of this policy is if every other tool in our toolbox fails, to avoid removing a healthy tree during sidewalk construction. If we've tried everything, then as a last resort, this policy makes an exception to a 4-foot wide sidewalk, which is currently our codified ordinance and the federal guideline. So that's what the intent is to not use it as a widespread tool, but just in very specific situations next to healthy, mature trees. So, and we can talk more offline about that. Okay, next. Okay, I'm going to pass it over to Secretary Zaremba.
Great. I just wanted to follow up on some of the rules and regulations that, the changes to the rules and regulations that we've discussed and left, or need to close the loop on in terms of meeting cadence and meeting notice in particular. And so we had discussed and been, for the most part, in agreement about committee chairs providing meeting notice to the executive committee and mayor's office of sustainability, so that could be publicly available at least 10 days prior to the meetings occurring, so that the meetings can be publicly, the notice can be posted 7 days in advance of the meeting to give people enough time to tune in, and be able to listen to and know that the meetings are happening, including an agenda, meeting location, time, virtual links, since all of the committee meetings are virtual / in person potentially. And establishing a meeting cadence for the year during the month of January. And so I think what seems to have happened during the committee meetings is more of an agreement around determining as far in advance as possible the meetings, and then ensuring at least 10 days prior to the meetings happening that there's notice to sustainability so that we can post them. I just want to make sure we're in agreement of that portion of the rules and regulations. And then in addition to the timing around the meetings and being posted, the cadence of being at least 6 times per year at the very minimum, should committees meet outside of the public meetings as well. Would just like to open up the floor for any comments, discussion, and then I think that we can vote on if we'd like to adopt or revise this any further. Yes.
Thank you so much, Secretary Zaremba. I am in support of the proposed revisions to the rules and regulations. Thank you very much for the helpful dialogue in our previous meeting. And this absolutely reflects, I think, reasonable measures that committee chairs can take. I do have a point of clarification, and I apologize because I don't have our full rules and regs in front of me today. I think one other clarification, if it's not already in there, is related to meeting recordings, because I think this helps to clarify the public posting of meetings and the minimum amount of time needed to give public notice for meetings. But if I understand correctly, we as a commission or the executive committee has recommended that meeting recordings be posted and made available to the public. So I wanted to quickly clarify that point. And if it's not already in our rules and regulations, that probably should be explicit as well. I know I haven't, I think it's important in the sense of if that's an expectation, I think it needs to be very explicit for committee chairs.
Okay. Yeah. That completely makes sense. I know that, yeah, we had recommended that the meetings be recorded and minutes be recorded in the same lens of the Roberts Rules of Order format, but we can certainly be expected that they be made publicly available after.
Okay. I apologize. Okay, it is there under EB. Committee chairs shall record meetings. Okay. So perhaps the only addition would be that meeting recordings will be, there's a little bit of a discrepancy about minutes versus recordings, and in terms of our practice, and would those be posted on the website or where?
Right. Yeah. So I think that the recordings and the minutes, once the minutes have been voted on or agreed upon by the committee members, be made publicly available through the public Google Drive that we have as well.
Okay.
And so that's kind of where that information can be housed, but I can mention that explicitly, or we can make those changes explicitly to say that they will be made publicly available through that platform.
I have a quick question. Is there Should we also,
Good. Sorry.
I unmuted, I didn't want to put up any ambient sounds. Is there maybe something we need to explicitly put about the time frame in which the virtual recordings and the meeting minutes are posted online? Yeah.
Brittany's nodding.
It said,
Our Office
help
of
me, please.
Sustainability, Tech Support, Web Support. Okay.
Do you think
great
that
point.
10 days is also feasible if we're providing 10 days advance notice with the agendas / meeting times 10 days after? Or should it be within like at the time of notice for meeting 10 days prior to a meeting, minutes from the previous meeting can be provided then?
I think that might make more sense only because the committee would have to approve the minutes. So it's, not necessarily the case that the committee would convene again within a certain time frame after the previous meeting. But in theory, a recording should be available immediately. Yeah. But the minutes might be more what Secretary Zaremba just suggested.
So the recording can be available within the week of the meeting, minutes available within a week of approval.
Okay.
Does that sound okay?
Okay.
All right.
Do you have any other comments or additions? If not, I will.
I was just gonna ask a question of the chairs. The chairs of our committees, does that seem doable to meet at least 6 times per year, per calendar year? Doable, given Dan? Okay,
Yes, that's fair.
okay, great. Okay. All right, thanks. That's a question I had.
All right. Well, if we don't have any other questions, I'd like to make a motion to approve these revisions to our rules and regulations.
Okay.
Can I get a second?
I second.
First.
Okay.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Bye.
All right. Well, turning things over to new business, and I'm going to say a few remarks before we welcome up Commissioner Porch, who, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon to do our oath with our new commissioners. As many of you all know, we've been working very closely as an executive committee over the last several months to fill the vacancies that we have for commission, and we are very excited about who we have moved forward with as formal appointees, and we have a few folks who are joining us this afternoon, and I wanted to go ahead. There are some folks who are here in the room with us, which you'll be able to hear from them in a few moments. But I also have some words of introduction prepared for each person. But I just want to give you all a very warm welcome to our commission and thank you for serving. So I'm going to jump into the introduction piece. First, I'd like to take a moment to introduce each of them and express our sincere appreciation for what they bring to this body. Our first new appointee as for commission is Jennifer Chandler, joining us as a developer representative. She serves as the assistant director of real estate development at CHN Housing Partners. With extensive experience in housing and community development, Jennifer has played a critical role in advancing affordable housing throughout Northeast Ohio. Her advocacy for tree preservation and equitable access to housing near transit and amenities deeply aligns with our mission to foster healthy, vibrant, and connected neighborhoods. We are fortunate to have her insight shaping our work. Our next new commissioner is Laura Marks. Laura Marks joins as a resident commissioner and brings with her decades of experience in tree planting, organizing, advocacy. As the founder of Heights Tree People and a Collinwood resident, Laura has already made a lasting impact in our communities. Her passion and grassroots leadership will be invaluable as we continue to build the capacity at the neighborhood level.
Can you pause between and give them an opportunity to
I was going to get that at the end, just so they could kind of go around the room. All right. Our next commissioner is Beck Schwab. They represent the nonprofit sector. They're the director of the conservation and community forests at Holden Forest and Gardens with a PhD in ecology and a career rooted in environmental science and education. Beck offers deep knowledge in restoration, research, and community partnership. We're thrilled to welcome their scientific expertise and strategic leadership to this commission. Our next appointee is Sarah Tilley, also joins us as a nonprofit representative and currently serves as the executive director of the Cleveland Tree Coalition. With a dual background in public health, urban planning, Sarah is committed to centering equity and community engagement in our tree canopy efforts. Her experience working in public health departments and now leading a coalition of partners makes her an incredible asset to our shared goals. Our next commissioner.
Up.
Our next new commissioner is Eamon Danielson.
Ammon.
I apologize. Eamon Danielson joins us from the electrical and utility sector. With experience at the Western Area Power Administration, Eamon brings an impressive background in regulatory strategy, stakeholder engagement, and sustainable business planning. His leadership and systems thinking will help us navigate the intersections of utility infrastructure and urban forestry. Thank you so much for joining us. Next, certainly not new, but serving in a new capacity is Tom Schreiber, who also serves as our chair of policy subcommittee. He is now going to be stepping into the role as serving as our arborist on commission. So Tom is our certified arborist representative. He serves as the manager of community forestry at the Western Reserve Land Conservancy. A Cleveland resident, a dedicated practitioner, Tom's hands-on experience managing urban forestry programs, engaging residents in stewardship, and leading educational initiatives across the city. We're grateful to continue to have his technical expertise in serving in this new capacity as our arborist representative. And lastly, but certainly not least, we have Whitney Long-Jones, who will be representing our environmental justice space. So as the founder and executive director of Organic Connects and a longtime leader in youth development, climate justice, and equitable community engagement, her dynamic energy, experience in service and education, and deep-rooted community relationships will be valued as we continue to center justice and access to all in the work that we do. And again, to our new commissioners, thank you for bringing your talents, your time, your vision to Urban Forestry Commission. We're incredibly excited to work alongside all of you all. And with that, let's dive into some more of the topics we have for our meeting. But we just wanted to express a really warm welcome and congratulations for you all serving. To give some space for each of you all to say about one or two minutes of an introduction of your name. Well, I already went over your name, but what you're excited about in serving it as a commissioner and just giving folks the space to hear your voice. So we can start with Jennifer and then make our way around the room.
And then gotta do the oaths.
And then we have to do the oaths. Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited to be here. My name is Jennifer Chandler. I'm the Assistant Director of Real Estate Development at CHN Housing Partners. We're a nonprofit based in Cleveland, Ohio, but we also work in Pennsylvania and in Michigan as well. And my role in the development team is really to originate new affordable housing developments in Cleveland and Northeast Ohio, as well as oversee our team of project managers to see those through to completion. And I think in that role, I'm deeply entrenched in city hall mechanics from the funding side to the permitting side to design review and everything like that. So I'm really excited to bring sort of my experience working with the city to this commission. So thank you so much for having me.
Welcome. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, Eamon Danielson. Imagine half of you are going to be trying to think about what you're going to say, as opposed to what I say. But, glad to be here. Obviously, some electric utility background. Want to say it's for electric utilities. I think it's kind of an interesting dynamic because one, very concerned about the health of our tree canopy, but it also doesn't always mix well with electric utilities. So I think goal here for me in participating on this is figuring out the best way that we can work together, preserve tree health and preserve the health and reliability of the grid. So thank you.
Thank you. Welcome,
Thank you.
Commissioner.
Welcome.
Am I next?
Hi, Beck Swab. I use they, them pronouns. Yeah, I work at Holden Forest and Gardens. And so, yeah, I'm excited to be here because I have a lot of experience in, trees and science, but I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to apply that to kind of policy and help figure out ways that we can have humans and trees living together and benefiting each other.
Thanks, Beck. Welcome.
I'm Laura Marks. For at least 40 years, I've been a voice for the earth. I trust that others are going to be talking about the needs of people and utility lines and things like that, but I'm unwaveringly a voice for the earth. And I'm really happy to be a Cleveland resident.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank you so much to everyone. And now I would like to invite Commissioner Porch up to the podium to do the official swearing in. Thank you.
And then if you want to stand at the podium and then welcome Jennifer, if you could join Commissioner Porch at the podium for the oath and then just unmute the mic, Commissioner, whenever you're ready. All right, great.
Sip off my heels. You can raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jennifer Chandler,
I, Jennifer Chandler,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the codified ordinances
and the codified ordinances
and the Charter of the City of Cleveland,
and the Charter of the City of Cleveland,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties of the Urban Forestry Commission
discharge the duties of the Urban Forestry Commission
of the City of Cleveland,
of the City of Cleveland,
State of Ohio,
State of Ohio,
during my continuance in said office.
during my continuance in said office.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Laura?
I have a disability that I don't think I'm going to be able to repeat back what you're saying. So if I can read it, I would be happy to.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Is that okay? That should be, yeah.
Okay, well, how you gotta raise your right hand?
Yep.
Okay, come over here.
Sorry.
That's okay.
So do you need, okay, may I read it? Okay. I, Laura Marks, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and the codified ordinances and the Charter of the City of Cleveland, and that I will faithfully and honestly and impartially discharge the duties of the Urban Forestry Commission in the City of Cleveland, State of Ohio, during my continuance in said office.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Beck Swab. It's awesome. You can raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Beck Swab,
I, Beck Swab,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the codified ordinances
and the codified ordinances
and the Charter of the City of Cleveland,
and the Charter of the City of Cleveland,
and that I will faithfully,
honestly,
and impartially
impartially
discharge the duties of the Urban Forestry Commission
discharge the duties of the Urban Forestry Commission
of the City of Cleveland,
of the City of Cleveland,
State of Ohio,
State of Ohio,
during my continuance in said office.
during my continuance in said office.
Congratulations. Thank you. She's not here. Sarah Tilly?
No, she's
No, she's not here.
Ammon Danielson. Did I say it right too?
Right behind.
Said it right. I was practicing.
Thank you.
Raise your right hand. I, Ammon Danielson,
I, Ammon Danielson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United
the
States,
Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the codified ordinances
and the codified
and
ordinances
the Charter of the City
and the Charter of the City
of Cleveland,
of Cleveland,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties of the Urban Forestry Commission
discharge the duties of the Urban Forestry Commission
of the City of Cleveland,
of the City of Cleveland,
State of Ohio,
State of Ohio,
during my continuance in said office.
during my continuance in said office.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tom Schreiber?
Oh, sorry. I just have to get there. You have to sign them. Yeah, I'm good.
I, Tom, you ready?
Hi, I'm ready.
You can raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Tom Schreiber,
I, Tom Schreiber,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the codified ordinances
and the codified ordinances,
and the Charter of the City of
and
Cleveland,
the Charter of the City of Cleveland,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties of the Urban Forestry Commission
discharge the duties of the Urban Forestry
of
Commission
the City of Cleveland,
of the City of Cleveland,
State of Ohio,
State of Ohio,
during my continuance in said office.
during the continuance of said office.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Whitney? No? Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Ford.
Thank you so much. And we officially have our new commissioner sworn in. Another collective round of applause for everyone. Well, before we turn things over to our next line item, I just wanted to make a note. I know I got a chance to share with a few of you all about a week ago, but I wanted to just make a more formal announcement here today. Over the last 2 years, it has been my pleasure to serve as a commissioner for the City of Cleveland and serve as the chair of our commission. And it is with a heavy heart that I make the announcement that I am going to be formally resigning from my position as chair. That is something that did not come as an easy task for me to do, because I love the amazing work that we get a chance to do every day with each other in our collective roles and then collectively here as commissioners. But as you all know, about a year ago, I took on a new role at the Urban Sustainability Directors Network. I have the immense pleasure of serving 39 communities across the United States, helping to provide very critical federal funding to their urban forestry efforts across the spectrum. And a great deal of that responsibility, which I take with pride, has taken up a great deal of my time and capacity. And I have too much respect for all of you all. I have too much respect for this commission to not be able to show up in fullness in the way that I would like to as a chair. So again, I say it with heavy heart. And although this is not a absence from my desire to continue to still work with you all and still serve the City of Cleveland, it'll just be in a new function. But I also leave walking away today very, very happy, very excited for all of the amazing brain trust that has joined our commission today. And I know that whoever is going to be serving as the chair following me, which I also have some additional news to that, they are going to be surrounded by brilliant, very passionate individuals here in this work. So I just want to thank you all for allowing me to serve. And I really appreciate having worked alongside each of you all. And with that being said, and excitement, I reached out to Commissioner Spencer and asked if she would be willing to serve as the interim chair. I can't think of anyone who would be better to serve in this function. I know that you all are left in phenomenal hands in that way. And so I really appreciate you for stepping up and taking the call when I reached out. I know that it is no small feat, but I just wanted to make note that she will now be serving as you all's new chair. And I just want to give a few moments to you to say anything that you want to share with the collective and just also give you a public thanks. Thank you.
Chair Malone, it has been such a pleasure to get to know you better, both personally and professionally. And I know that your bond with this commission will persist and continue. And we will continue to rely on you to provide us with insights and knowledge. And I know that individually and collectively, we won't hesitate to reach out. You're not going far, and we are very grateful for that. I think that the work that we are undertaking, while it's specific to the city of Cleveland, relies on a broad network of many hands, hearts, and minds across the city and the region to do what we need to do to meet our canopy goals. And so, again, just grateful for your service on the commission to date and for your continued service for the work at hand for all of us. As we try to as we will meet our canopy goals and improve our service to the city through the hard work of all involved from the staff of the city and the commission. So thank you so much. And of course, I'm happy in a time of transition to serve in the role of interim chair. Some of you may know that my term on Cleveland City Council is ending at the end of the year. So it is certainly a bridge role as interim, but I am most happy to step in and to support the continued work of the commission. And I look forward to working with Secretary Zaremba and with Assistant Jennifer, what is your title? Vice Chair Kip, to make sure, please slide me in. Please slide me into the operations of the executive committee to make sure that I'm providing the support needed behind the scenes. I know our executive committee does quite a bit of work between commission meetings, so I'm ready when you pull me in as needed, and we'll keep it moving. So, and I look forward to any of you, especially for new commission members. If you'd like to reach out to me personally with any questions, you're most welcome to do so. And I'll be making a pitch when we come to committee reports to invite you all to join my budget committee as well. So that's the first pitch. There'll be a second pitch. All right. Thank you.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move over to our committee updates. So we can start with Commissioner Dan Lehman with Maintenance Committee.
Well, hi, everyone. So I'd like to report on the maintenance committee. So we did not meet during the quarter. The majority of our committee members actually termed off. So we're going to schedule for reschedule for next quarter. And if anybody wants to join, that'd be great. What we do is, so we are our goal is to support the maintenance of the city of Cleveland and make recommendations from early in the life of the tree to really at the end of the life of the tree. And that's really the mission of our committee. And we're looking for some committee members to support our goals during the quarter. So please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you for that update. I'm going to turn things over to Chair Tom Schreiber for the Policy Committee update.
Thank you. The Policy Committee last met on February 12th, and the bulk of our meeting agenda was about sidewalk and tree conflicts, specifically around the appendix for the PROWAG guidelines that are being adopted and accepted and that we heard an update about at the top of the meeting. We also continued to discuss updates to Chapter 509. We finalized our charter and our work plan and had a lengthy discussion about hydrant permitting for watering organizations. Our next meeting is Thursday.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Thank you. And then I'm going to turn things over to Chair Spencer for the update for Budget Committee.
Oh, did you have a question?
Really, real quick. Do you want to mention the Chapter 509 or the one pager that you created with the Cleveland Tree Coalition?
I can. We haven't reviewed it in the committee yet, but we will on Thursday. The policy committee is also working in terms of public education on simplifying our codified ordinance for public consumption. It's a very, very long document with lots of laws, and we think it will be helpful both to the committee internally and to the public to understand what is legal for the public to do with both public and private trees. So we look forward to reviewing that as a committee and making that available to the public.
Thank you. I want to begin my report with a bit of a big picture context for our new commission members, if I may, just sort of a big picture context. As your budget committee chair, I will admit that I have a very the lens I've been using since I became chair of that committee is as a city council representative. And many of you know that one of the most important duties of Cleveland City Council is to review and approve the city's annual operating budget, $800 million operating budget. And when I joined council 4+ years ago now, one of the first things I noticed is that urban forestry was not, for those who were reviewing and approving the budget, there was no explicit line item mention of urban forestry and its activities. Over time, the city had evolved its operations, and urban forestry was an office under the Division of Parks, Maintenance, and Properties. And it was an aggregated budget number, and you could not by itself have a snapshot of how the city was funding urban forestry, what level of support and staffing, et cetera, was unique to forestry. So I would say for the new commissioners, one thing that's been really exciting as we've moved through the work of the budget committee, we do have a brand new separate division of urban forestry for the city of Cleveland. It is also under a brand new Department of Parks and Recreation. And so I think, Commissioner Porch left, but she's serving as the interim director of urban forestry now.
Interim commissioner.
Of urban forestry. Regardless, so it's a time of change, but really exciting change. And the upshot is that there is a newly formed Department of Parks and Recreation with a new director, and we do have our own standalone division of urban forestry. And for the first time ever, this will kind of go into my committee report. For the first time ever, the budget committee was able to have a robust discussion and understanding of how is the city doing with our funding for urban forestry? And I will put a pause in that for one moment to provide one other bit of context, which is to issue an apology to the public and to any members of this commission who had difficulty participating in our last meeting. I do want to thank Jose, who kind of came to the rescue, and we had to change meeting locations for our previous meeting. We went over to a fabulous meeting space in the Division of Water where we encountered some technical difficulties. Anyway, we did have quorum for our budget committee, and we were able to conduct a very productive meeting. However, I do want to issue a public apology to members of the public and anyone else who was unable to participate in our meeting because the virtual link was essentially non-functional. So what I'm recommending to our committee members for our next meeting, and I think there is definitely a need from time to time to meet in person, depending on the topics. And we will always, in that case, offer a hybrid or virtual option with in person. But for our next meeting, I'm going to keep us to virtual just to make sure that we're all systems go with making sure there are no impediments to participation and that their meeting is properly recorded. So again, apologies to everyone for those technical difficulties, and thank you to the budget committee members who hung in there, and we were able to conduct our meeting with quorum, and it was a great discussion. In terms of what we covered during our last meeting, we discussed the budget that was approved by Cleveland City Council, the mayor's recommendation, and then the budget that was approved. Overall, tremendous interest in this new division of urban forestry. The annual operating budget is just shy of $6 million, which was the pretty close to the requested amount going in. So it's a very strong start for the new division. The 28 FTE employee count was also approved. So I think the general sense and desire I had coming out of that whole budget session is that there is a tremendous appetite and desire to see urban forestry succeed and ensure it is properly resourced. So I'm incredibly optimistic at the beginning of this, kind of the inception of the new division in terms of the amount of financial support provided. One thing that was interesting was there's $2 million out of that just shy of 6 million number that is for contractual services. And we hope that will, along with other resources that we have available, continue to contribute to. We are still playing catch up in our urban forest in terms of the attention it needs with pruning, removals, et cetera, to make sure that the life cycle of trees are attended to. But as Vice Chair Kip acknowledged, and as Commissioner Danielson, what was the date? August 6th?
Yes.
Okay, they both remember it all too well. They'll never forget that date, August 6, 2024, the big storm. That $2 million can get eaten into significantly if we have another major storm event. But so the Budget Committee will continue to monitor expenditures throughout the year, but I just want to congratulate all involved. I'd like to congratulate Vice Chair Vice Chair Kip, sorry, and everyone involved with crafting that budget and getting it across the finish line. One other thing I would like to mention is that due to the level of interest in urban forestry, it's my understanding that the chair of council's municipal services and properties committee will be calling a operational hearing. I believe later this spring. I'll be checking in with Councilman Bishop on that. I will invite all members of the commission to attend that if you would like to, once that is scheduled. That should be pretty enlightening. You can also watch on YouTube, so there's two options, but I will keep everyone apprised of when that is scheduled. And we did, during our last committee meeting, also have an update on the 3.4 million USDA grant, some really important discussion, both from Chair Malone and Vice Chair Kip, about the status of those federal funds and what to expect, and some recommendations therein. The bulk of the committee meeting was spent with sort of a long-awaited discussion around, can a sustainable, recurring, predictable funding stream be identified for urban forestry? Because we know that even though we had a strong start to budgeting this year, conditions can change, right? And there are external considerations, political considerations, other things that could influence budget outcomes. And we know that we need to continue to keep urban forestry well-resourced. So it was we still have a lot of work to do on those discussions. I would say one theme that emerged for me that I want to start our next meeting with is, it seems that there is a lot of appetite to make sure that with the authority we already have on the books, that we are able to collect. And that specifically would be enforcement related to our tree preservation fund. There was also discussion around charging for some of the fees related to permitting. So I think there's some low-hanging tree branches that we can take advantage of, and but it's, we'll keep the full commission updated, and as we compare and contrast these various mechanisms, that alone will not be enough, like in all likelihood, to reach what we want in terms of a level of funding, but we look forward to that continued discussion. So with that, we are in the process of scheduling our next budget committee meeting. The Cleveland City Council's capital budget presentation will be the final Monday of the month, which is, I believe, the 28th of April. Let me double check. The 28th of April, that morning will be the city's capital budget. Typically, forestry is represented there. There is some number attached to some additional funding for forestry. So I'm recommending we meet immediately following that. And as soon as our committee members can identify a date and time, I'll let everyone know, in case you would like to join the budget committee, where we will review the results, review the initial recommendations for the capital budget, as well as continue the discussion about funding sources for urban forestry. So. Also, committee members, please remember to review the draft minutes so we can approve those at our next meeting. All right. Thank you.
Thank you all for those very robust subcommittee updates. And I'm actually going to turn things over now to Secretary Zaremba to go over the committee members outside of commission.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jen. It's just a quick point of discussion that we had talked about a little bit in our executive committee meetings, especially during the process of interviewing so many incredible candidates for these very few vacancies with the Urban Forestry Commission, that there are so many people who have extremely valuable expertise and input to be able to contribute outside of solely public comment period. And so we had discussed the possibility of inviting ad hoc attendees as subject matter experts to committee meetings, as whatever discussions might pertain to their expertise. And so including those non-commissioned members and committees is something that we can move forward with as an as needed basis or as wanted basis. And that the executive committee and committee chairs would make the final decisions on who would be able to participate, and ensure we're in agreement with that. But just wanted to put that out on the table and see if anyone has any thoughts, questions, concerns about moving forward with this.
Thank you. I have a question. Does the term include here imply that they would be voting committee members, or would they just be presenters at meetings?
It's basically, it's whatever Robert's Rules of Order. So we would just follow Robert's Rules of Order, and like much in the same way we have design review committees for the city. There are non-commissioned members who are voting members. So it's essentially the committee would establish who are the voting members. And then the committee would also establish, what is the vetting process for non-commissioned members to be in the committee. And it's kind of like Anna said, it's because we had so many amazing applicants for the commission. And then after 2.5 years in doing this work, I think we all would agree that there's a need to expand our pool of resources to help us do even more.
Thank you.
Sorry, I threw that one in.
In terms of the listening public today, or as a follow-up to this meeting, I understand this is at the discretion, so this would be at the discretion of chairs, or would it be together executive committee and chairs who would formalize non-commissioned members as voting members of the committee, or what would that, does that question make sense?
Yeah. That's a good point. So just to clarify, you're asking essentially for the decision-making factor for who is serving as a non-voting member, what would be kind of like the chain of command and approval. So we would have chairs the chairs of each subcommittee who would essentially serve in creating the vetting process. And then like, what are the approvals for those folks?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I understood they would be voting members, not non-voting members.
I was just saying that that's what the chair would establish.
Okay.
So,
sorry, I spoke assumptively.
Oh, no, we're good.
Yeah, and this is just discussion. We're just throwing this idea out.
No, I think
We're
this is
trying
important.
to like kind of fill a need within the committees to do, expand the work of the committees, because that's where really a lot of the work is done of the commission. And since we have already this big pool of really passionate, committed, interested people who did not get appointed, we were thinking we could start with them, because we don't want that passion or commitment to be lost, if that makes sense. And so kind of circulating, those resumes, those other applicants that didn't get appointed, and then having a separate discussion about what we think makes sense, knowing that we need more people on committee.
And to your point, Commissioner Spencer, it sounds like we need to provide a little bit more clarity of that last line item of executive committee and committee chairs making the final call, maybe differentiating out like what is the final call and process.
Yeah, it might be helpful to have it unified across all committees rather than each committee having its own protocol process.
Yeah.
Here's how to indicate interest, et cetera. Yeah, but I think this is a really, really important discussion, and welcome next steps here.
Great. Feedback.
Yeah, I do have a concern about the permanence or impermanence of committee members and voting rights.
Okay.
Something that probably we need to discuss. Who will be entitled to voting at committee level, and how does that, would they have also voting rights at this level?
This subject sounds like a awesome
good
candidate
questions.
to have an ad hoc committee. Are there any other questions or comments?
I just want to say I appreciate Secretary Zaremba already on it. I'm not an expert on Robert's Rules of Order or the Ohio Sunshine Laws, but I know there's some really good guidance in there to answer these questions, and Secretary Zaremba's already on it, so.
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you. So go ahead. I think you wanted to say something.
No, I simply wanted to add that for new commission members, our meetings are open to the public. So one thing I've really appreciated thus far about how the commission works is that any of our committee meetings are open to the public. Guests from the general public can attend. However, we do not, just to clarify, we do not accept public comment during committee meetings, and they would not vote, obviously, as well. But I do think that's an important part of how we conduct our work, to share with new members that members of the public are welcome to attend and observe all of our committee meetings.
Thank you.
And to the point of not accepting public comment, I think that might need to be an additive to the rules and regulations. So maybe on the next agenda.
Good point. Okay. Anything else for discussion around committee attendance? Chair Malone threw out the idea of an ad hoc committee. What do we think? Anyone want to take a stab at next steps with this? Would you like the executive committee to kind of take the lead and put together our recommendations and then present them? Does that seem like reasonable next step?
I was going to suggest the executive committee.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for that.
That sounds like a great idea, and then we can proceed with maybe looping in the committee chairs to see what your thoughts are after that.
Great. All right. I'm excited.
All right, I think we can move on to the next piece of the agenda.
Okay, great. Okay, so we have some updates from the Urban Forestry Division. There are so many updates. I have 2 slides on this. I probably could have done 10. So you guys will have to tell me if this content's a little light or too much, and then I'll modify from there. So yeah, the big conversation, right? And as Councilmember Spencer mentioned, we are the recipient of a $3.4 million grant from the USDA. We received the grant award in September, so we are still in year 1 of our grant cycle. We received 6 proposals. We put out an RFP to get our comprehensive tree and site inventory done. We received 6 proposals. There were 4 finalists, and we will have the final proposals selected the week of April 21st. We have sub-award contracts in the law department under review. So the sub-recipients are the Metro Parks, the Cleveland Tree Coalition, and Cuyahoga County. And each of those awards, sub-awards, are for $125,000 each. Our RFP for the Opportunity Corridor revitalization will be advertised in May. And then the tree pruning, $570,666 number, that funding was originally in our grant proposal to be spent each year, that dollar amount each year in grant years 3, 4, and 5. Given the federal climate and what's happening kind of globally, we are concerned that the funding may not last the 5 years. So we have moved those activities up to year 1, based on the guidance from our U.S. Forest Service grant liaison and Chair Malone. Our foresters have attended track training. 2 of them are now track arborists. The other 3 are scheduled for this November. And then I'm scheduling my renewal for my track training this year as well. Before I move on from grant activities, any questions? Okay. Project support. So the Division of Urban Forestry is supporting Mayor's Office of Capital Projects and the Tree Damage Sidewalk Program and 50/50 programs. Rick can speak way more intelligently on the program itself, but it's over 2,000 locations citywide, where the city will replace the sidewalks at no cost to the resident, correct? For the TDS. And so why is it important that, oh, please go ahead, Rick.
Just especially for the new folks that are in the room, TDS is tree damage sidewalks. I know it's up there, but I kept hearing
Oh,
TDS.
right. I didn't put parenthetically.
Yes, and it's actually right now two distinct programs. The first one is we're calling the Tree Damage Sidewalk Recovery Program. That's the monster one. It's $7.4 million. And it catches up with locations we missed between 2015 to 2023 due to either contractual issues with contractors. And we had one occasion that over a 2-year period, that's the duration of our contract, that the numbers were so high, we couldn't use them. And when we did use them in tree damage, we probably did half the locations we really wanted to do because the funds were so high. For instance, to do a tree pruning, it was something like $1,800 to prune a root. And we know it's probably about $300. So it was way too expensive to use. That's why we got the backlog. But now we got some good numbers. We're going out with the 7.4 million recovery contract. We have a TDS requirements contract. This gets you tongue tied, if you can see from my ability, having difficulty speaking. That one's gets the 2024 streets from the residential resurfacing program. Taking a step back, the tree damage sidewalk program always follows our residential resurfacing program. The mayor puts $12 million into that program every year. Happy to hear this year we have $20 million in that program. The council members get a split based on ratios of DNF streets over total citywide DNF streets. Typically, about 800,000, $1 million, depending how the ward fared in terms of the number of DNF streets that they have. And then we come back the following year and do our tree damage sidewalk program. The 50/50 program that's offered throughout the city. Folks want to get that done. They just call us up. We do an estimate. Big change this year is not, it just happened, I should say. It used to be the resident only can pay 50%. It was opened up that anyone can assist that resident in paying that 50% to make it easier on that resident to get sidewalks put in. Last one to the program, since I'm on a roll right now. Part of that tree damage sidewalk program is what we call a SLIP program, a sidewalk leveling improvement program. It's basically either sidewalk trimming or cutting when it's 2 inches or less. Don't have to remove any sidewalk panels, no issue with trees. Kind of just leave some scratches between the two lips of the sidewalks, ADA compliant. Costs way less than doing the TDS, so we're happy with that program too. So that's kind of the overview. Thank you for your time.
That's great. Any questions for Rick on the sidewalk programs? That is the SLIP program I'm really excited about. That's been very successful.
Yes.
Yeah, for
Very,
sure.
very good.
And so why I bring this up too, also from the forestry side, is that we have a forester on our team who's kind of dedicated to supporting this project. So when those sidewalks are removed for the 50/50 program, then he goes out and evaluates the roots and the tree to see what kind of prescription root pruning can be done, or if the tree needs to be removed to put in the new sidewalk. The TDS program has over 2,000 locations, not the 50/50 program, just to clarify. And a huge win for forestry and MOCAP is that the tree damage sidewalk program has its own project arborist through professional contract services. Okay, operations, our oak pruning season just ended on April 4th. So we are doing a pilot of systematic street tree pruning. So we know those of us who went through Tree Commission Academy, we know we would like to be ideally on a 5 to 7 year pruning cycle. Right now we're on a 26. So what we found over the years of kind of putting out fires, if you will, right? Going where those complaints and those worst of the worst trees is that as soon as we prune one tree on that street, then everyone wants to say, well, I want my tree pruned too, because ultimately the whole street needs to be pruned. So that's why this is a pilot program. During the winter months, our foresters who are certified arborists went out and kind of surveyed some streets or even block segments where the trees were really in dire need of pruning. And so we are sending our 3 crews to start tackling those streets one at a time and getting every single tree pruned on that street. So I'll have more updates as that program continues. The tree pruning from the grant funding, that's going to go through our requirements contract. We have a requirements contract for pruning. And so that's what the work they're going to do. We continue to remove trees. Just saying it again is, I guess, a refresher. And for those of you who don't know, we remove trees only when they're dead, dying, or have a significant structural defect, essentially if they're falling apart or splitting. We have a spring tree planting program. We're going to plant about 150 trees this spring. We have a kickoff meeting with the contractor scheduled for tomorrow, so we're excited about that. And then in this summer, our foresters are going to go out and start doing park tree assessments. But they're going to focus their assessments on trees that are near benches, playgrounds, pavilions, where those kind of static, stationary areas of parks are that attract people. And we'll be starting to document trees that need some maintenance around those static targets. And then resurfacing program assistance. Again, we want to make sure that our trees are not low over the right of way or over the road where they're going to interfere with the equipment that comes through to do the resurfacing. So we also help out our division of streets whenever possible and get branches raised. So their program is successful. We started this year a monthly training program in this room. We do monthly trainings March through October, where myself and my 5 foresters conduct training for our internal staff of arborists and tree workers. Everybody you're all invited, but it's basically we tackle a different topic every month. We just did storm work. We just had our March 1 rather on storm work, and I'm happy. I'll just disseminate our training calendar to everyone on the commission after this meeting. And if you can attend, we'd love to have you. And then we have our annual electrical hazard awareness training coming up as well. And kick it over to Secretary Zaremba.
All right, in the interest of time, I'll move through this pretty quickly, but I have a few printouts available as well and can send this around to the group as well as make it publicly available. We have produced a recent annual report to highlight some of the successes of the Urban Forestry Commission, to outline the Urban Forestry Commission members, including new members as well. And I'm happy to just go through a little brief summary of what that looks like. Again, a couple printouts available that you're welcome to share. And we can certainly have them available after the meeting as well. The annual report highlights some of the key goals of the Urban Forestry Commission and, just provides a brief summary of what the creation of the Urban Forestry Commission was for. And then also highlights broken down into areas that relate to each of the committees as well. Some milestones related to policy changes and recommendations, as well as the goals around the policy committee and the key performance indicators, how we're tracking progress on meeting each of these goals. The budget committee as well, budget milestones, and then maintenance milestones as well. So I am not able to read this. I think it's probably difficult to read as well, but happy to pass around the copies outside of the meeting too.
Okay. I just want to give a shout out to Secretary Zaremba. She put this annual report together, which was, quite a time commitment. So I just definitely want to say thank you so much for putting it together. We did not, for the record, we did not put out an annual report in our first year together. So this is really remarkable and big for us. So
yes,
yeah, thank you. And thank you to everyone also, if you had committee chairs contributing. But thank you for this
committee
heavy
chairs
lift.
Contributed a huge amount of not only the work that we can highlight as successes with the Urban Forestry Commission, but also a lot of the content too. So thank you for making this an easy lift.
And this also, I think, in our ordinance, it says that we should assist the director of the Department of Parks and Recreation in completing the annual report. So I would suggest that the next step is to then send this over to Director Nichols for comment. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay, love it. Great.
Any additional questions or comments? All right, well, in the interest of time, I would like to turn things over to our public comment section. And so I just wanted to outline a few things here. Thank you so much for grabbing the document, Anna. So I just wanted to outline a few housekeeping rules here. The Urban Forestry Commission receives public comment through an online form and through attendance of quarterly public meetings. Any members of the public who wish to address the commission during the allotted time may do so within the following parameters. Sign in for the public comment at least 5 minutes prior to the meeting. Comment must be relevant to the agenda. Each person has a 3-minute time period to comment. The chairperson continues to have discretion over allowance of public comment. And then for the online public comments, so just some additional parameters. The executive committee reviews each public comment, and we are responsible for reporting out during our quarterly public meeting. So I am going to first jump into offering anyone who is signed in advance to provide public comment up to the podium.
Okay, yes. Michael Armstrong.
Yes.
Hi. Recently, the Ohio Department of Transportation.
Sorry, can you push the button? Yep.
One right
Yeah,
here? Okay,
got
now
it.
we're green. Okay,
All
good.
right, thanks.
All right. Recently, the Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT, clear-cut hundreds of mature trees along Cleveland's portion of I-90. ODOT says these projects will help increase the amount of sunlight reaching the nearby roadways to dry more efficiently, and will reduce the risk of tree limbs falling onto the highway. Last fall, over 100 mature trees were removed along Cleveland's North Marginal Roadway to make way for the Mandel Community Trail. And now hundreds more trees are being cut down in Camp's Corner to make way for the Old Lorraine Connector Trail. In Detroit Shoreway area, the developers of the Herman Park Trail want to cut down trees. The proposed trail's property owner, Western Reserve Land Conservatory, says the site has excessive, unkempt greenery that attracts litter and makes the area feel uninviting. But this approach at Herman Trail and the other projects mentioned do little to help increase the city's urban tree canopy cover from 18% to 30% by the year 2040. Both wild and cultivated urban forest areas like these have benefits and amenities for Clevelanders that should also be considered. For us, the people of Cleveland, trees along our highways and trails help improve air quality by removing carbon dioxide and air pollutants, plus abate visual and noise pollution. The trees being cut down by the state, our parks, and the city are part of our tree canopy too. Is the Urban Forestry Commission providing any recommendations on policies, plans, programs, legislation concerning the urban forestry management, sustainability, or the protection of trees in our city and on public land in places like those just mentioned? Also, I've heard no mention of the proposed new air pollution control code, Council Ordinance 387, 2025. It has a few things to say about trees. Are you involved? Lastly, I'm glad there have been some updates to some of the rules and regulations regarding some of your committee meetings. I just also want to note that the February 26th, Maintenance Committee meeting, never started and no cancellation announcement was made till the public until the end of March. I also was on the Policy Committee Zoom on March 12th. That one was canceled 15 minutes later because they did not have a quorum. And your definition of a quorum is to have a majority of members present. I might be wrong, but there would have to be at least 9 members present or being a part of the policy committee
Excuse me, Mr. Harper,
to have a quorum.
We've reached time.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment. All right. Do we have any online submissions for public comment? Would you like to read them up?
We've just had one online submission in terms of public comment on April 3rd from Ivan Zapata, who does not live within the city of Cleveland, but their public comment is expanding community education programs to engage local residents in sustainable forestry practices. Okay, that's it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks. And did we want to share any updates on previous public comments? Was there anything to share with the meeting? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now that we have officially concluded our public comment portion of our agenda, I just want to leave. Fantastic. I want to leave you guys with a few closing remarks. So we have our Ohio City tree tour that'll be coming up April 22nd from 3 to 5 p.m.
Can I talk about that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this is a tree tour that I'm leading, and I want to bring everybody to come and marvel at the only mature stand of ash trees, street trees in the city of Cleveland, probably even east of the Mississippi River or east of the Rockies, dare I say. So come and marvel at our mature ash tree canopy. The details are on the Ohio chapter website. Thankfully, they're like supporting this and sponsoring the city and bringing this to you. So it's from 3 to 5, and then we're gonna meet at Happy Dog from 5 to 7. We have a little area reserved, and the first 20 people get a drink ticket. So I'm very excited. I hope the weather cooperates, but if not, we're tough in Cleveland. All right. Arbor Day with Holden Forest and
Can I
Gardens.
say, Commissioner Schwab, did you want to give an update?
Can you talk about it? All right, great.
So we're having multiple Arbor Day celebrations.
Mike.
We're having multiple Arbor Day celebrations at Holden, but the one most relevant to this is that on Arbor Day itself at the Botanic Garden, we are going to have a tree planting that is the tree planting for the city of Cleveland for their Tree City USA. That will be at 1 p.m. If folks are interested in attending, I believe we do have RSVPs, and I can maybe send that information to someone to send out if people want to join.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Beck. I put a line in there for other Arbor Day events because I thought Sarah Tilley from the Cleveland Tree Coalition would probably have a lot. Does anyone know of other Arbor Day tree events that they want to share in this meeting? Because we won't be convening before Arbor Day.
I'm going to be teaching a class on benefits of trees at the Collinwood Rec Center, date to be determined, which had better be signed up.
Okay, great. Thanks, Laura.
Invite anyone to plant trees with the Western Reserve Land Conservancy. You can find our public events on our website, wrlandconservancy.org.
Awesome. Okay.
Fantastic. Well, if we do not.
There's a couple more items on that.
Okay.
Also, just want to tell everybody about the Mark Hanigman Memorial Tree Planting Event. This is sponsored by the Ohio Independent Arborists Association. Mark Hanigman was internationally recognized and respected for his tree preservation work. Mark Hanigman was a mentor and a friend, and he passed away last year. Very, very deeply missed. He's helped the city of Cleveland. He made some recommendations on the Cudell Park trees and other trees of significant importance in the city of Cleveland. And so we're gathering to celebrate his life and plant a tree in his name. And the event is at ohioarborist.org. You can register there. And then in May, the city, Avon Lake, or Avon, I think it's Avon, the city of Avon is hosting the annual Tree City USA Awards for our region. And Cleveland will be the recipient of a 45-year award, 45 consecutive years as a Tree City USA. And Tree Commission Academy, Anna, did you want to talk a little bit about that? Or I can, you could hit the button.
Sure, happy to. Just wanted to mention, since we had talked about the Tree Commission Academy in our last meeting, and mentioned that there were some graduations finishing their senior year classes, that the sophomore class will be coming up fairly soon. I'll be in attendance at that one.
Okay, great. Are you signing up for the Akron one? Okay, great. So is anyone on the commission besides Anna a sophomore in their sophomore year?
I don't think so.
Okay. So Tree Commission Academy is something that our new commission members will go through. It's been a really, really beneficial class. We've heard a lot of positive feedback about it, but it's basically kind of a crash course in urban forestry and arboriculture. The instructors are the regional state foresters through ODNR. And I've been through the program twice. Laura, how many times have you been?
2.25.
2.25 times through. So yeah, it's a great program. And so we're going to reach out to our regional forester to see if they could bring a freshman class to Cleveland, add another one to their schedule so that our new commission members can attend. So any questions, comments on all the announcements?
I have one more announcement I want to add in. I'm sorry, I jumped the gun a bit earlier. So just to give you all another volunteer opportunity on April 10th at Riddall Green Partnerships, which is also the home to the Cleveland Tree Nursery. They are going to be doing a volunteer event for Earth Day. I know for Earth Day and Arbor Day, both akin to each other in stewardship and service. There's going to be plenty of opportunity for folks to get their hands dirty in a fun way. April 10th from 10 to 11:30 a.m.
Sunday.
It's on Sunday. Yeah. And if we don't have any other additional announcement, I would like to make a motion to adjourn. Well, I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn our quarterly meeting.
Second. All right, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
One bit of housekeeping, our new members who took an